Saxon Algebra 1/2, Lesson 58. The topic today is called distance problems. This is a topic we're going to come back to, this particular type of word problem. We're going to come back to again and again and again over the next 3 years. So every level of algebra has variations on this. And I want you to memorize the basic equation. Distance equals rate times time. Always, always, always. This is such a thing to burn into your brain, and I like to abbreviate it. I call these dirt problems because it looks like the basic equation is saying dirt, right? Or dart, which ties us back into like a Stranger Things vibe, so I don't want to go too far with that. Because we'll all get scared, and we can't do our math if we're freaking out about the scary monsters. Excuse me. Distance equals rate times time. These are problems that have 3 variables. These are quite familiar. You guys know this because if you're going 60 miles an hour on the expressway, and that means you're going a mile a minute, then you know that if you have 60 miles to go before your exit, it's going to be an hour. Does that make sense? These are kind of familiar if you've gone on any road trips. They'll start to make sense as we go, all right? But they're easy, so even if you have never been on a road trip in your life and you don't even know what that is, don't worry, we'll figure this out. All right, Helen, let's do this. Basically, what's going to happen in these problems is that we're going to get 2 pieces of information and we're going to have to solve for the third. Just like our freaking formula problems, the missing piece will move around. It'll be in different places at different times. And then the other thing that happens is that we often have to figure out what the rate is and what we can, let me just save that and talk about it later. Okay. Helen could travel 40 miles per hour. Now, as soon as you see this magical phrase, miles per hour, you know that that is a rate, right? That's a speed, a rate of how fast you travel. That's what cars do, right? You know that. So as soon as you see this expression, miles per hour, you know that that is information about the rate. How long would it take her to travel 600 miles? 600 miles. This is a unit of length, and so you know this is a distance. And then John asks, how long? And you can see he's asking you to solve for the time. Oh, okay, so we have 3 pieces of information. This is the one we're trying to find out. But there are the 3 pieces. There's the order they go in. So we write 600. Now I'm going to skip one thing. And show you later, equals the rate 40 times the time, which we don't know. Now, what's weird about these problems and makes them seem scary and hard is that the version that we're doing now, we're going to write the rates next to the numbers and pay attention to how they cancel. That looks weird at first, but don't worry. Miles per hour times 40. No, I'm sorry, this is just 600 miles. This is miles per hour, and this is, the time is going to be in hours. All right, sorry, I wrote this as if it was the rate, but we know that's the distance. There it is again. All right, so to get this, and let's put these over ones. Since we have the rates that are fractions, or it's only here, it helps to do that. Here we're multiplying it by t hours, so what we want to do is multiply it by 1 over 40. Right? Then this is the reciprocal. It'll cancel. Right? This is 1 hour for every 40 miles. I'm putting the same unit on the reciprocal that right, this is what we're multiplying by to make this go away. This will cancel the numbers and it will cancel the units. Oh, well, I could do it there. That's the hours that are left, right? And then over here, it's hours and miles. The miles cancel. So now we're asking how many times does 40 go into 600? So let's take 600 divided by 40. It goes in here once, right? We subtract, we bring down. Oh, 4 times 5 is 20. So that looks like that will work, right? And that is exactly 200. So this cancels. And we get 15 hours equals, and we didn't have to have a unit on that. So that cancels with that. 15 hours equals T. So there's our final answer. Don't worry if you're still a little bit confused. We're going to do more of these. But we simply take this formula, distance equals rate times time, and we plug in the information given to us and solve using our same reciprocal trick. Because we created a fraction because our rate is a fraction. Okay, so 15 hours is the right answer. Yes. Okay, let's try another one that's going to get a squinchy bit harder, just a squinch. And there are only 2. Oh, 58.2. Distance equals rate times time. Okay. Harry could travel 350 miles, that is a distance, in 7 hours. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing. The first thing that I want to do is identify what my numbers are telling me. Are they a distance, a rate, or a time? Distance is a length, time is a unit of time, and rate is always a comparison of the two. It's like a speed. That's how I like to think of it. Rate is what we often call a speed, and as you know, we usually measure our speeds in miles per hour in our cars. All right, in this example, then the first question is A, what was his speed? Okay, well, speed we know is rate. Rate is right there. So if we plug in, if we take our basic equation and plug in the numbers we do know, 350 equals R times 7, and then just do a little algebra, that cancels, and we get his rate equals 50 miles per hour, because that's what we're comparing, right? And if I wanted to, I could do miles, and 7 is hours, and we're dividing it by 7 hours, and there's the miles per hour that we got, and then we just reduce this fraction. Okay, so there's our first answer. You can write it this way. You can also write it as 50 miles per hour. This way is actually going to be better once we get settled in this. I'm writing it this way now because that looks a little more familiar to you, but we're going to want to get used to doing it this way. Okay, B, how long would it take him to travel 800 miles? So how long to travel 800 miles? All right, again, we just look at our equation here. Now our distance is 800 equals, and our rate is 50, this is 800 miles, miles for every 1 hour. And then if we multiply that by the time, that will be our answer, right? That's what we're trying to find, how long. Okay, to get this t by itself, we're going to multiply it by 1 hour over 50 miles on both sides. 1 hour over 50 miles. We'll put this over a 1 so that it looks cute. This cancels because those are reciprocals. The miles are going to cancel. Our answer will be in hours, which makes sense because it's how long. All we have to do is take 800 and divide it by 50. And I can do that in my head because every 2 50s gives me 100. So if I take 2 and multiply it by 8, I know that this is 16. All right, so my answer is 16, and there's my unit, hours equals T. Yay, that's the second part. And then here comes the last part of C. At the same speed, which is the same rate, how far could he travel in 12 hours? Okay, so we're saying T equals 12 hours. Rate is the same, 50 mph, and so we just set it up again. We don't know what the distance is, so we say D equals the rate, 50 miles per hour, and I'll put the 1 there, because that just helps make the fraction look balanced. The distance is going to be equal to his rate of 50 miles per 1 hour times the time, which is 12 hours. And I could write that here. That would make it better. All right, I'll put this over a 1 just so it balances. No need to do a reciprocal this time because all the numbers are on the right. The variable's already alone. So, and the hours cancel. We're going to be left with miles, which makes sense because distance is miles. And 50 times 12, the zero's off to the side. 5 times 2 is 10. 600, it looks like he can go 600. Distance equals 600, and we're in miles. Yay. Also the right answer, okay? So, this is our basic formula. Rate is the tricky one. Distance is usually miles. Time is usually hours. And rate is the tricky one because it is a speed, miles per hour, or as we will learn to write it more often in math. This is how we write it in normal life. This is how we write it in math speak, right? Okay, so there are the 3 different pieces. You identify them and you can solve for any one of them. Yay, 58 is over. Good job, you guys. I hope that was neat and clean and easy in your heads. Remember to write your formula on every page of your homework so that you have it right in front of you when you're working the problems. If you need in the beginning to remind yourself of how those things are measured, write down that information. Make sure you put this in your notes. Make sure you put this in the front of your notebooks. Do it right now before you move on and do other things. I want you to develop these really strong study habits because it's going to make your life not only easier now, but in the future, it's going to make it so much easier for you if you just naturally do all these things. Okay, now I'm done preaching at you. 58 is done. Goodbye.